Folks, welcome back into Thriving with the TSP. Again, Coach Pete, Marty Hensley. Marty, let's talk about the F fund, which is the bond fund, or otherwise known as fixed income fund.
Yes, it's a lot of similarities to that G fund, Coach. The only difference there in the F fund is they're going to have much more exposure to corporate bonds, where the government bond or G fund is just strictly government bonds. So there's going to be a little bit more risk associated with that fixed income fund because you've got some corporate bond funds there. And the corporate bonds are not backed up by the U.S. government the way the G fund is.
So the goal is to outpace inflation as always, and it's, I guess, when interest rates decrease, is that a beneficial thing?
Well, absolutely. As interest rates are going down, the price of these bonds are going up, but these new bonds that they're purchasing are paying less and less interest. So it's kind of a happy medium is what we call it.
So this is very important because a lot of people aren't going to understand when I say this. They're going to say I'm saying it wrong, but risk of loss will increase when increase of interest happens. So if interest rates go up, the risk of loss increases.
That's exactly right. And so it's not, we talked about earlier, you have that kind of seesaw effect when it comes to interest rates. And a lot of folks, obviously when in the fixed income fund and in the G fund, the bonds that they purchase in there are going to be very, very short term. And folks will say, why is that important? Well, shorter term bonds are going to have less fluctuation as interest rates move up or down than long term bonds. And so it's kind of like if you look at a seesaw, it's going to fluctuate a lot less as it's closer to the middle than it would be out here on the end.
Makes some sense.
And so that fixed income fund, hopefully over time, we're going to expect a little bit more return on the F fund.
A word that I hate to use, but we're going to use it anyway, back testing. So back testing by the government, I've got the government forms here, since 1988, it has outperformed inflation. So that's good. You want it to do better than inflation. And over the last 10 years, it averaged about 3.84%, which is not bad because the G fund, it was about 2% over 10 years. Again, not a reason to pile money in, but a reason to consider all the facts before you do anything.
Yeah, and that's those two funds, that G and F fund, they're doing exactly what we want it to do. It's kind of the slow train to China. I want a steady, predictable, reliable return, and that's where that G and F fund, that's the piece, that's the safe piece, where I want that consistent rate of return each and every year and subject myself to the least amount of risk as possible.
It'd be a long bridge if you got a train to China there. Maybe a tunnel, maybe dig down and come out the other side. Well, all right, so those are the two right there, the G fund and the F fund. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the more the better options, I think, as far as chances of better return, but also exposing you to more risk. We're going to talk about the C fund when we come right back.